Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. We acknowledge the land upon which we work and live, the First Nations and their nations, and recognize their connection to the land, water, and community. We continue to learn, listen, and grow together. And saying that, welcome everybody. I'll call the meeting to order, and can I get approval of the agenda, please?
Be it hereby resolved that the agenda for the November 5th, 2025 regular meeting of council be adopted as printed and circulated.
Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by and that's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? No, not seeing any. And minutes for October 15th?
Be it hereby resolved that the minutes of the October 15th, 2025 regular meeting of council be adopted as printed and circulated.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Barnes, second by Councillor Banbury. All in favor? And opposed if any, and that's carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Not seeing any. No public meetings today. Before we get delegations, sometimes we'll get talking over here and you can't hear. If there's a time when you can't hear something on the mic, please let us know and we'll make sure we correct ourselves here. Okay, and our first delegation is Hannah Yeager, Policy Planner for Oxford County. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Okay, great. So good afternoon, Mayor and members of Council. Thank you for the introduction. I'm also here with April Nix, who's the manager of the Planning Policy Team. And we're here as part of our consultation on the amendments to the official plan to improve implementation policies. Next slide, please. Thank you. So to provide some background on this project, in May of 2022, community planning staff proposed reviewing Chapter 10, which concerns implementation policies, to County Council as part of a phased approach to updating the official plan. And since then, as we all probably know, there's been many changes to the Planning Act, and we have a recently updated 2024 Provincial Planning Statement that has affected how municipalities approach the development review process and land use planning in general. So recognizing the breadth of these changes, we're now proposing to prioritize amending these implementation policies to essentially conform with legislation, provide opportunities to streamline review procedures, and add clarity for the existing processes that we do. On September the 10th, 2025, County Council permitted staff to initiate the project, which is why we're here today. So we're looking to inform and consult council and staff. And we've included on the agenda a copy of the staff report and the draft policies from that council meeting. And that would be next slide, please. So this slide here, we're obviously not going to be discussing all the details of these bills, but the intent of this slide is just to illustrate the breadth of how much the Planning Act has been amended over time that the proposed policies will be working to address and acknowledge. So of course, every bill is a little bit different in terms of its content and its impact to the Act and how municipalities approach development. But suffice to say, we're taking a comprehensive approach to this technical update. Next slide, please. So today we'll be summarizing proposed changes into kind of three key categories. So first, we have a couple slides on opportunities to improve the development process. Second, we have minor updates to add clarity and transparency. And then lastly, we have requirements and procedures for major projects and studies. Next slide, please. Thanks. So with regard to opportunities to improve the development process, I want to start by underscoring that the following tools are optional. And generally, these proposed changes to the official plan will enable the use of the tools. So without these official plan policies being in effect and a bylaw being passed at the local municipal level, these tools can't be used and they're not required to be used. So we've grouped these three tools together on this slide because there's an opportunity to use them together for certain types of planning applications. And I'll use the example of a zoning bylaw amendment, which is minor or technical in nature. The benefit of these tools is that they can help staff manage simpler applications faster and with greater flexibility to meet legislative requirements while still maintaining timelines. Generally, the proposed policies will give local councils the choice to provide delegated approval authority powers to staff for zoning bylaw amendments that are minor or administrative in nature. The proposed official plan policies will list what these include. For example, the lifting of the holding or the rezoning of a parcel associated with the surplus farm dwelling severance are two examples of those policies. It's also important to understand that this would not give staff the ability to refuse an application. And if an application was approved, a corresponding bylaw will still need to be passed by council in the following meeting. The proposed policies will also give councils the choice to permit staff to use alternative measures of notice. So under this permission, notice requirements would still need to be met. However, if, for example, a mail strike were to occur, notice could instead be published on a website instead of having to rely on physical mail. So it's a different option. The proposed policies also give councils the choice to permit the ability for staff to waive a public meeting. And we envision this being appropriate for applications that residents don't typically attend public meetings for, or to use the example of a surplus farm rezoning. There's already opportunity for the public to provide feedback at the preceding consent application. Notice would still need to be given to residents about the application to provide any input as desired. And again, this gives staff the added flexibility to complete these kind of simple applications a bit faster and remove duplication in the process. The last thing I'll state is, in addition to this being an optional tool, it's also quite flexible. So local councils don't have to do all of the things that the official plan policies are contemplating. You may, for example, want to try only delegating approval authority for holding bylaw removals. And once a level of comfort is established, consider revising the bylaw to expand the abilities. A local bylaw can also be designed with safeguards in mind. So, for example, a council can rescind delegated approval authority. And another example of flexibility is a bylaw could be designed to require an application go through a typical public meeting or council decision process exercise if that application had certain characteristics that would essentially disqualify it from delegated approval authority or the waiving of a public meeting. So I just want to underscore it's a flexible tool. Of course, those details don't have to be determined now. The intent is just to provide the enabling policies in the official plan. And then again, a bylaw would need to be established at this local level, which would be reviewed and passed by council. Next slide, please. Continuing on with opportunities to improve the process, we've added informative policies on community planning permit systems, or CPPS, which is another optional tool. It essentially combines multiple planning applications into a single planning permit that has a 45-day approval deadline. In short, the tool has pros and cons. It could be difficult for municipalities to implement, but it can also help incentivize different types of development that may meet a municipality's strategic objectives or goals, and has been used for things like affordable housing or urban design, for example. Noting that this is currently, as proposed, an informative policy, because this type of tool works best by being carefully scoped and designed. So that would mean further background studies, official plan policy changes, and then a CPPS bylaw being passed would all be required to establish a locally appropriate and effective CPPS area before it could be used. We're also adding proposed policies regarding complete application requirements, again, intending to be informative in nature. So this would mean that the plan will state what may be required for an application to be deemed complete. And the intent is that this makes the local planning system more transparent for proponents and users of the official plan. I'll note, just for transparency, there's been some recent changes through Bill 17 to the Planning Act, which adds some complexity for how municipalities establish complete application requirements in their official plans. But right now, we're actively monitoring that, and we'll navigate that as we prepare a report with the amending policies for County Council. And then lastly, we're proposing to add policies that links development to the county's recently passed allocation bylaw, which affects how water and wastewater servicing capacity is assigned, reallocated, or withdrawn. So essentially, this ensures that development, for example, site plans or subdivisions, are meeting the procedures and protocols outlined in that allocation bylaw that was recently passed. Next slide, please. Thanks. So to our next category, minor updates, shorter slide. These policies will either state existing processes, such as when planning approvals lapse or different types of applications can occur under the Planning Act that municipalities can consider, or just small adjustments to existing criteria. And that latter point is largely informed by our development planners who use these review criteria in their day-to-day work. And again, the intent of these changes is just to clarify for users of the official plan our existing practices and requirements. So unlike the earlier two slides, these amendments don't contemplate new tools or accommodate new legislative changes. They're really just intended to be minor and informative in nature. Next slide, please. And then lastly, we have updates relating to requirements and processes for major studies and projects. And these proposed amendments achieve two key things. So they reflect the new provincial planning statement and Planning Act changes regarding settlement area boundary expansions. And they aim to update policies to reflect county and local municipal practices used for those expansions. So in short, the intent of these changes is to keep our tools up to date and reflect what we already do so well, so that when municipalities approach the when and the where growth can happen, the how is easier to navigate. Next slide, please. So in terms of next steps, we're going to be consolidating any feedback received from council and municipal staff as we prepare revised official plan policies to circulate. After those final changes are made, we'll present our recommended official plan amendment for county council, again noting that there may be a separate amendment required for those complete application policies due to that kind of wrench thrown in through Bill 17. And then provided the policies are passed as generally shown today, we can then work with area municipal staff and councils to explore and provide greater understanding of any of the optional planning tools that I've outlined today in these slides. That's it for me. Thank you for your time, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from council? Councillor Banbury?
Yes, I have one question. I'm in favor of delegating authority. We've done that at the GRC and it's worked very effectively. I think we've only had one instance where they've had to bring something to the board. They wouldn't make a decision on their own. But I'm just wondering how, if staff were to turn down a project, how does the appeal process work in this case? Would they, similar to the way it's been done up until now, or?
Thank you. Through the chair, so to add clarity, this could potentially only expand the ability for approval. So if a planner or a member of staff was to recommend refusal, then it would just automatically go through the council review process, just the regular process that already happens today.
Okay, good.
Anything else from council? No. One thing I looked at was that Bill 185, that servicing capacity, and I think that's, especially for the rural areas, that's a very key point in there, because if we happen to have somebody that has all the service lots but aren't building, and we have somewhere else where they want to come, the time frame on it. What is have you decided what the time frame is on that yet? Like, is it a year, 2 years? Just, I'm curious.
Yeah. So through you, Mr. Mayor, my understanding through Bill 185, it kind of added two changes with regards to servicing capacity. So one was a shift essentially from the Planning Act to the Municipal Act for how allocation is withdrawn, reassigned, allocated. Not a huge change, but the other thing you might be referencing is the lapsing, or what we call the use it or lose it.
Yeah.
The way that the Planning Act is written, it prescribes things to be affected by regulations, and those regulations haven't been coming to effect or dropped by the province yet, to speak broadly about it. So the legal interpretation is based on the Planning Act is that it's no less than 3 years.
For a site plan approval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. Anything else from council? Nope. I'm not seeing anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Be it hereby resolved that the presentation from Hannah Yager, Policy Planner, Oxford County, regarding proposed updates to the implementation policies of the official plan be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Councillor Barnes, second by Councillor Demarest. Any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you. Okay, and our next delegation is Rhonda Stewart, our ROEDC Director. Thank you. Welcome, Rhonda.
Can you hear me?
No, don't have to pass it.
Nope, you're
Can you
good.
hear me now?
No.
Okay. Hi, good evening. No, turned it off. There we go.
There you go.
Thanks. Oh, dear. Okay, well, good evening. I hope you guys are doing well today. I know everyone is very busy with budget season, so I wanted to just make a quick tour around and do a short but sweet presentation, starting with a huge thank you for your support and engagement over the spring and summer as we embarked on our 2026 to 2030 strategic plan. I'm not going to go through the whole presentation. I just wanted to highlight a few items from the process and then just let you kind of know where we're at and our next steps and open it up for any kind of Q&A. Over the spring and summer, we went through a 4-step process, well, 3 of the 4 steps: discover, define, and develop. So we worked with McSweeney and Associates and did a situational analysis. We did a ton of review of the communities of all of rural Oxford and Oxford County, like within that context. There was a lot of document review, situational analysis. We moved into, over the summer, quite a lengthy stakeholder engagements series. McSweeney had conducted a number of one-to-one consultations, so just like one-on-one phone calls with some key stakeholders. There was an online survey that was sent out with questions. There were focus groups. We ran 3 different focus groups, one specifically for elected officials, one for staff and community partners, and one for businesses in rural Oxford. All of the themes and gaps and positives and pain points, everything kind of was brought together. Our staff and board also went through a strategic priorities session. And McSweeney took all of that information and rolled it into a list of action items and key themes. And so you'll see the key themes, or the goals and action items. 1, strengthen the role and responsibilities of rural Oxford EDC and how it collaborates with aerial municipalities and Oxford County. Goal 2 was marketing rural Oxford while making it more ready for investment for the long-term growth. And goal number 3 is to support local business community through business retention, growth, and succession. And as well, goal number 4 was continue building organizational capacity. So with those 4 goals and overarching themes, matching it with the strengths analysis, McSweeney pulled everyone back together for a working group session. And at this final session, we had a really great cross-section from our board, our staff, elected officials, community partners. Our friends at Oxford County Planning were there. We had businesses, and we essentially literally did working group discussions and dove really deep into the identified areas so that we could pull together this list of action items. So the action items that you see is a 5-year list of action items. Many of them we will be the lead on. There are some that we will find strategic partnerships and collaborate on, to leverage resources. But it was quite a really positive conversation overall to hear so many different perspectives around similar topics. The final stage is the strategic plan. It has been presented to the board, and our next steps is to work on an implementation plan. So we're doing that. We're going to take a look at these action items, look at what Crystal and I believe we can do in 2026, and we'll bring that forward to the board at the end of November. And that's our next steps. If you have questions for me today, I would love to answer them. And I also like to say, if something comes up after this meeting and you have a burning question or concern or comment, you're your board director here is Nancy, and I know if you bring any comments or questions to her, then she will bring it back to our board meeting at the end of the month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rhonda. Any questions from council at all? No? Not seeing any questions at all. Easy crowd. Well, thank you very much for the report. I know I enjoyed going to the strategic plan meetings as well. Very informative, and thank you very much. I look forward to it being implemented.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you for our annual review, and I just thought this warranted an in-person thank you, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that the presentation from Rhonda Stewart, Economic Development Director, Rural Oxford Economic Development, regarding the 2026 to 2030 Economic Development Strategic Plan be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Demarest. Any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, and we have some correspondence. Our first correspondence is, hopefully I get the names right, Lowell Ewert and Peter and Irene Lass, residents' proposal, decommission a portion of River and Oxford Road east of the closed bridge. Okay, I guess we'll just go right into discussion on that. I think most of council is familiar with it. We looked at it on our roads tour that we had. Any comments from council at all? So do you want to go ahead? Yep.
Certainly, yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to members of council. So this is a follow-up on previous discussions that the Director of Public Works and myself have had with Lowell, Jeanette Ewert, and the Lass family. We've attended the site, as the mayor noted. Council also visited the site during the roads tour. Throughout those preliminary discussions, I think the takeaway for the Director of Public Works and I was that there is some due diligence work on the side of staff that would need to take place before we'd be in a position to make this type of recommendation. So our request to the interested property owners was that they sort of formulate that specific request for some council correspondence, and that then staff would be seeking that direction from council to provide a comprehensive follow-up report. So really, more than anything, before we sort of put any significant resources into making a firm recommendation or really doing any further analysis on this, we just wanted to make sure that council was generally in favor of the direction that's being proposed. And I think that this document does a really great job of summarizing that. Staff certainly empathize with the issues that have been raised. At this point, I think the extent of our follow-up has been some high-level discussions with the Township of Wilmot, just confirming that they were open in principle to this type of action. We've received confirmation that they are, so that was sort of a positive start. But again, with that direction from council, staff would provide a comprehensive report for future council deliberation.
Yep. Is that all right with council? Yep. Okay. Anything?
I was
Yep.
just going to say, I did, I appreciate this report. It had a lot of really good information because we had looked at it, and this just brought all that together. So I think a staff report back would be a great place to move from here.
Okay. Is that all right with council? Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Be it hereby resolved that the correspondence from Lowell Ewert and Peter and Irene Lass be received as information, and further, that council directs staff to provide a follow-up report regarding the proposal.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, thank you very much. And we'll let you know when the report comes out. Okay, to staff? Okay, thank you. Okay, and our next one for Kathy Dibble, Thames Valley Regional Communication Coordinator. Okay, did you want to comment on that, or do you want me to? So what they want is they want to have a, sorry, I'm just trying to get to it. They want to have a one or two environmental farm plan workshops in the Lions Hall. My gist of it is they're not 100% sure they're going to get enough people to rent the hall, and our policy says that they have to put a deposit down that is non-refundable, if I'm correct. So they don't want to put a non-refundable deposit in just in case, so they're asking to waive that fee. So my suggestion is that we allow it, but if anybody comes forward that wants to rent that day, that we give them a time frame, whether it's a week or whatever. I think probably a week is satisfactory, that we give the group that Kathy Dibble is representing a week to give us a confirm yes or no. That way, we're not losing out on somebody that potentially wants to rent the facility. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, if council's okay with that. Yeah? Sounds good. Okay? All right. All right. Sorry, I'll give you a chance to. I think a week's sufficient time. If we give 2 weeks and the other person, it's not fair for them either, right?
No, I was just going to say, just essentially, we're penciling it in,
Yeah,
giving them first right of refusal.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it might be money that comes out of personal pocket rather than out of the group.
That was kind of
Yeah.
the gist of the report.
Okay.
Okay?
So the draft is received as information, and that council directs staff to forego the booking fee with the caveat that if there is interest in the facility for the same date and time, that the group be notified to make a decision on the booking within a week.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay?
Be it hereby resolved that the correspondence from Kathy Dibble be received as information, and further, that council direct staff to forego the booking fee with the caveat that if there is interest in the facility for the same date and time, that the group be notified to make a decision on the booking within a week.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Young, seconded by Councillor Barnes. Any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay? And the next one for general.
Be it hereby resolved that the general correspondence item be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, seconded by Councillor Banbury. Any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, and our first staff report, Jim Borton, Director of Public Works. Welcome, Jim.
Afternoon, Council. This is my monthly report. Princeton capital project is coming close to completion. Asphalt work is completed. They've been getting the sidewalks in, curbs in, started doing some restoration, which is nice to see. This work will continue, hopefully be all completed. We are in November where the weather can change. Their hope is they will be able to get everything done as much as possible, all of it. If that changes and the weather changes where we can't, we will obviously come back to council and let the residents know on what the timeline would be to get that stuff completed. Bridge 24, this is the bridge scheduled to be replacement on Township Road 12. We're still working with our Indigenous partners on getting this EA study completed. It's been interesting which ones want different reports and different things, so we're almost there. So the hope is that that will be completed very soon, and we'll be able to finish the drawings and get the tender out and construction started. It'll be next year now before construction will start. Shared services, we met in Woodstock this year in October. We had a presentation from a local company called Complete Locating Services. They have lots of fancy machines to determine where things are in the ground. They have a radar system that can actually pick out where rebar is in concrete for different lines and stuff like that. So it was an interesting presentation, service that could be used in the future with all this different infrastructure being put in the ground. Pam Antonio from Oxford County also gave us an update on where waste management is heading, which was good to hear. Our Oxford Association, the Public Works Professionals, we had our joint Oxford-Elgin Middlesex meeting. We had 89 people attend, which was really good. We had some really good speakers. All our Public Works staff from our township as well as the other municipalities all had their winter maintenance refresher. We run a 2-day program. Usually send half of one day, half the next day. Again, that's all the municipalities, so there's about 70 people in the classroom for each day. Our big news from AORS and our Oxford Association is we finally got our numbers back from the trade show. We did very well, very much more higher than expected. So we raised a profit of $111,385. So $91,385 of that will be going back into the community. We will be splitting 75% of it, which works out to $22,846 for each of the 3 hospitals, as well as the food banks in Oxford County will be getting $4,569. So once we have everything finalized, we will be reaching out to councils and doing presentations during council meetings for those. So we'll be looking to do the food bank for Drumbo here.
Perfect.
Drainage, Adam's been working with the different farmers and making sure that drainage is happening now. This is the time of year when we typically get our calls as the crops come off and the weather tends to change. Public Works staff, during October, we had a shoulder machine demo. If you remember, you did see some of that while we were on our tour. That worked very well. Obviously, grading is a big thing now that we are working on, as well as some grass cutting and getting all the equipment transferred over to winter operation. Anyone has any questions?
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions from council on the report? No, not seeing any.
Trying to think up one.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year, absolutely, for roads getting ready for you-know-what. Okay, anything? Nothing? Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report PW 2517 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any? And that's carried. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
I
No.
was just going to say that I know the trade show was a lot of work, but it's really awesome to see that amount of funds and resources coming back to Oxford County. So way to go for your team that did that. It's amazing to see those numbers.
Yeah, that'll be huge money for our food bank. That'll be greatly appreciated, absolutely, for sure. Okay, all in favor? And opposed, if any? And that's carried. And sorry, I wrote something down here afterwards. I actually had a phone call just before I came here with 2 questions, one for you and one for Trevor, I guess. Once again, the railway crossing in Princeton. I had another person call me today, wanted to know what was going on. They broke something on the front end of their car trying to go over the track, so they wondered what was going on. It's really bad. Honestly, it's.
Yep, so we have been in contact with CN. They are aware. They have not committed to any dates or anything like that for the repair. We keep sending them messages, talking to them and telling them how bad that it is.
Has anybody been out to look at it, do you know?
They said that they have. I did stop and talk to, there was a supervisor there.
Okay.
And he said that it was kind of above his head. So we have reached out. They are aware of it. However, it is CN responsibility.
Okay. May have to get a hold of Sal with
Mr. Mayor, Daryl and I made it abundantly clear to Daniel Salvatore
Yeah,
at the conference in London.
okay.
Didn't we, Daryl? We made it abundantly clear that that is the worst crossing in Ontario.
Yeah,
And they better do something about it as soon as possible.
okay.
Somebody's going to get killed there.
Oh, it's horrible. It's actually, go ahead.
I guess my question, I know it's not our responsibility, it's not our railroad's not our, like, I understand that, but
County Road too.
is there nothing, like, we're just, are our hands tied that we can just wait, or what?
I guess,
I don't know.
I'm just thinking, I know we've had this discussion pretty near all summer, but I'm just wondering if maybe at our next council meeting, if we can draft some sort of resolution here on the safety aspect of it. Because once we pass that safety on, if somebody does get hurt, they're responsible. When we put the safety aspect, if we can maybe have that.
Yeah, certainly, through you, Mr. Mayor, would you like that to come, perhaps staff could take a stab at preparing a draft that
Sure.
council could consider endorsing?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that'd be a good idea, and maybe we can get it sent off.
Well, Mr. Mayor, it's a county road. Has the county been after CN to get something underway?
My understanding is yes, they have been. I've talked to the county about it. They've said that they've tried to contact them, so I don't know what I've reached out as well, like personally from the township standpoint to CN.
Okay,
Because I think eventually somebody's going to get sued.
yeah,
Or somebody might get killed, but somebody will definitely get sued.
yeah. I have a note in my book here too, and I'll get a hold of the director, Melissa, and rattle some chains too, see what happens. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and our next one is Adam, our drainage superintendent. Welcome, Adam.
Afternoon, council. I've just got an appointment of engineer report for the Sparks drain. Back in September, we received a petition for drainage works in the area of Lot 9 and 10 Concession 4 from John Pinenberg and fellow property owners. This property is in the watershed known as the Sparks drain, and the next step in the process is to appoint an engineer here at council.
Okay, any questions on that at all? Nope, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report DS 2503 be received as information, and whereas the Grand River Conservation Authority have not registered any comments to the petition for drainage works for Lot 9 and 10 Concession 4, Blandford-Blenheim, from John Pinenberg in the affected area of the existing private Sparks drain, and further, be it resolved that council appoints K Smart Associates Limited at 85 McIntyre Drive, Kitchener, Ontario, N2R1H6, to prepare a new drainage report as per the petition in accordance with Section 4 of the Drainage Act.
Thank you. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, second by Councillor Barnes. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you, Adam. Okay, and next up is Trevor Bear, our Manager of Community Services. He has a busy schedule here. Welcome, Trevor.
Good afternoon. Just here to do some reports today. First report is a partnership agreement report with the Drumble Agriculture Society in the early on years. This is a follow-up report from CS 25-06. Staff in the Drumble Agriculture Society have come to an agreement with council's request to do the grass cutting in the 2026 season, and Drumble Agriculture Society is going to get into an agreement with the early on for 48 weeks of 2-hour programming in the Drumble Agriculture Society, and our part will be cutting the grass, and they're going to get into a agreement with the Drumble Agriculture Society and the early on to for the insurance and for everything else that they need to do. So this is just a follow-up report saying that we're going to sign an agreement, and our portion will be cutting the grass for the 2026 season.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Any questions from council? I was sorry, I didn't see it here. Was there a start date that they thought it was going to start?
Yes, November the 18th.
Okay.
November the 18th, I think it is. or-
18th? Okay.
It is in here, yes.
I didn't see it in there.
It was November the 11th, and then they changed it.
So
to
November
Remembrance
18th.
Day.
Okay,
They were
yeah.
going to start on November the 11th, but they moved it for
Perfect.
Remembrance Day, so.
Okay. Go ahead.
Next report is just a follow-up report.
Hold on, we'll do
Oh, sorry.
before you do that.
Yep, sorry.
Be it hereby resolved that report CS 2520 be received as information, and further that council direct staff to enter into an agreement.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Demers. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? And that's carried. And your second report.
Yes, next report is just a follow-up report from last council meeting to move forward with programming. We were talking about doing adult programming, partnership programming with groups, and we were talking about doing youth programming as well, youth drop-in centers. At this time, we've reached out to the Plattsville Lions Club, the Friends of Princeton Park, and there's a committee at the Drumbo Maple Grove Center that would like to start working with us to do adult programming within the township. It will include some active programming like pickleball. This will include crafts and board games and stuff like that for adults. So we'd like to move forward with that. The groups are on board to move forward. We are going to have a meeting with all the groups again just for the start dates, but we'll report back when that happens. But just to inform council that all the groups are on board for the adult programming, and we're still working on the youth programming aspect of it. It's just a little bit more in detail with the youth.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions at all? Nope, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report CS 2521 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and second, please? Moved by Councillor Barnes, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Young.
I think I mentioned this last time we had the report, but I just want to say thanks for, I know there's a lot of moving pieces to this and the early on programming as well. There's a lot of people involved in groups and with the adult programming. So it's really great to see these things coming. So I appreciate the time that you've put into getting that in action.
Yep. Yeah, agree 100%. All in favor? And opposed if any, and that's carried. Okay, and your third report.
Next report is just our monthly report. Month of October, we ended up planting 17 trees throughout the township. And we had 11 trees planted before this from the Downtown Beautification Committee, planted 11 trees in the Drumbo Park, and we had 17 trees donated throughout the township parks between Drumbo, Plattsville, and Bright. Trees just went into the spots where some old trees were, and some trees are going to have to come down in the future. So just trying to pre-plan for the future for trees. So there was 28 new trees planted throughout the township this summer from community groups. So and mainly in our parks and some at the parking lot up at the Drumbo parking lot too. So Plaza Arena seems to be running pretty smoothly. We're pretty busy with there. Just our regular routine stuff now. Parks, we've been beginning to seasonally shut them down. This includes shutting down the water in the washrooms, putting the garbage cans away, and just putting stuff away that needs to be put away. And we've been doing some overseeding in our cemeteries in October, just on the graves that need to be overseeded, and just some regular maintenance in the cemeteries as well. So overall, that's October, what the staff have been doing.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Any questions at all? I just have one quick one. The trees that we planted in Princeton, we were going to do like a little, I don't know what you call it, arboretum or whatever to kind of, did any of them take enough that we could use someday down the road or
We
not?
can transplant some of those trees, yep.
Okay, I just was curious if.
Yep,
if
these people, like the beautification committee, planted 11. They got the community to buy them. And the 17 trees, and they're 10 to 14 feet trees.
Yeah.
And the beautification committee were about that 10-foot tree. So this opportunity just gave us an opportunity to plant some good mature trees in our park. So
How big are the trees in Princeton? Are they very big?
some of them are probably around 10 to.
Okay. I guess what I'm looking at, I haven't been over there to look at that spot. If they get to the point where they're getting too close together, where they're choking each other out.
They were spaced out pretty good, and we lost some too.
Yeah, I knew you did.
Yeah.
With some.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking before they get too big,
Yeah.
maybe we should look at it, next year sometime, maybe moving a few of them out to other locations as well. It's a good process. Go ahead, Councillor
Mr.
Bamber.
Mayor, would they be replaced, the ones that are moved out?
We can get some seedlings.
It's going to maintain itself as a bit of a nursery for.
That was the goal for there. It just, if we get some seedlings, yeah, we can get some seedlings. So that project too was a lot of community-based, people helping the water and those trees at that time. So
Yeah.
that nursery that's why that was set up kind of like that. And
Yeah.
I forget how many, I forget how many trees in Princeton we planted that year, but there was we we got some tree award, or if I don't remember what it was, though. There's something that we were recognized that we planted so many trees
Yeah.
in that park.
Just out of curiosity, was there, this might be one more for our Director of Public Works, but was there any trees much cut down in Princeton this year that, with the road work? Was there?
For the construction,
Yeah,
I believe there was 3.
okay. Just a thought maybe down there. I'm just wondering before they get too big and we can't dig them out, that,
Yep.
and then just kind of thin it out and then we replace them like Councilor Banbury says, and then we move on as we go. So, okay, thank you very much.
Mover and seconder?
Yeah, mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Young, second by Councillor Banbury. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you, Trevor. And you have one more that was added today.
Yes, one more that was added today. Staff put out an expression of interest for the operation of the canteen at the Plattsville Arena. It was due back by October 31st, the deadline. We did have 2 individuals that were interested, but only one individual came back with a submission for the canteen. The other individual came in, looked, and just wasn't interested in the end. I think they had a lot of questions, but it's a hard sell. A lot of small one-pad arenas either close their canteen, vending machines only, or take a big hit on them. That's what the average is. So, but we had one person come back. It was the Old Barn Cafe. She's a local volunteer-driven nonprofit group, very community-oriented, very volunteer-oriented. She helped with do the music in the park and the barbecues in the park this summer. Overall, it's I think it'd be a good fit for the Plattsville Arena to have the booth open and us not operate it and have her operate it, and a lot of other townships come into agreements like this. So just letting council know that we'd like to enter an agreement with the Old Barn Cafe for the canteen at the Plattsville Arena for this season.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? Councilor Young.
I have a comment to begin with, but I think it's a great, what she's been doing there, if having students volunteer and giving them a lot of skills too, I think it's awesome for our community. Is this, I think you said at the end of your sentence that it's just for the season?
It's a
So is your
seasonal-
intention that next year?
We can extend
Do
it.
the same?
In the agreement, it'll be an extension, as long as both parties agree.
Oh, okay, okay,
It'll be a
perfect.
2-year, yeah.
Thanks.
Anything else from council? Just curious, where is the Old Barn Cafe?
It would be the canteen, that's what she calls it.
Oh, but it's not, I thought it was like,
No.
okay, sorry, I thought I was taking that the Old Barn Cafe was somewhere else now and she was
No.
taking, okay, perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, anything else? Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that Report CS 2523 be received as information, and further, that council authorize staff to enter into an agreement with the Old Barn Cafe for the operation of the canteen at the Plattsville Memorial Community Arena for the 2025 to 2026 arena season.
Okay, can I get a mover and second, please? Moved by Councilor Young, second by Councilor Demarest. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. And Trevor, I just got one thing for you. It was part of the second part of that phone call, sorry. Where'd I put it here? Oh, I had somebody ask me about the Princeton Park, where our status is on that.
We talk to them weekly. They say that the material is here, they have the material, now they're just waiting on the adhesive that has to take to cure before it gets wet, so they're looking at the weather. That's what they're working on with, well. so-
Okay.
So that's what we're told from them, so.
All right. I'm just wondered, I'm not sure whether we should or not, if we should put something on social media to say what the process, I've had a few people call me.
Yeah, we can,
If we can maybe put something just.
we've
'cause-
updated, we haven't updated for a little bit, but we have updated
Yeah.
in the past, yep.
If we can maybe
update.
do that. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, that just came in before I came here. Okay, and our next one is Denise, Director of Finance. Welcome, Denise.
So this report is in regards to our proposed 2026 user fees and charges for council's consideration. Staff reviewed all the existing charges. We made some small increase and there was some new fees added to our schedules, and these are highlighted. The booking fee of 30% for all our halls was introduced in 2025. And this has helped cut down on some of the cancellations that we've had in the past, and we're now proposing to extend this to our pavilion rentals as well. All renters of township facilities are going to be required to obtain general liability insurance through the township's contracted insurance provider if they don't already have their own insurance. This change ensures that all facility users are adequately covered, reducing the township's financial exposure and administrative burden in the event of accidents or damages. The township, this will enhance our risk management, promote consistent protection for all users, and support the long-term sustainability of municipal facilities and services. Another change in the schedules this year, in the past, all community services fees ran from May 1st to April 30th, and we're proposing moving forward that this timeline only applied to the arena because it aligns with their ice time. Any other of the pavilion, hall rentals, they were now run starting January 31st, same as all the rest of the fees in the schedules. Yeah. Building fees, no changes at this time. They're indexed as of April 1st, and the DCs are indexed as of June 13th. And the MTO rates, some of them have been updated, but anything that follows the not MTO, but the provincial rate, anyway, we will insert it at the time when we receive it from the province.
Okay, any questions from council at all? Councillor Demers.
I just have a question about the incremental insurance premiums. So up until now, if someone was renting or having an event at one of the halls, they would be covered under our insurance?
We do have a policy through IPE for general liability for third-party users. That was, we just absorbed those fees in the past. But now they are significant, and we are proposing that those be passed on to the users.
Okay. My concern is that, is it going to make it unaffordable to have events at some of our, do we have a sense of the cost of that?
We do have a schedule from IPE. It depends on the risk, so there's some lower risk and some medium risk events. Anyone in the high risk, they really have to have their own insurance. Anything with alcohol, they have to have their own insurance. And also the number of people attending. So the rates are dependent on those factors.
Okay, anything else from council? Nope, I'm not seeing any. Go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report TR 2514 be received as information, and further, that council authorize the Director of Finance to prepare a fees and charges bylaw for the December 3rd, 2025 council meeting based upon township fees and charges as outlined on the attached schedules.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by somebody? Councillor Young? Okay, any comments at all? Go ahead.
I think this is just something that we're going to have to monitor.
Yeah.
I do have a concern that, a lot of times that when our halls, et cetera, get rented, it's for nonprofits who sometimes have their own insurance, or for fundraising events, et cetera. And I'm concerned that, it might make it somewhat unaffordable for some of them when we're just trying to. So I think it's, if we're going to implement this, I think we really have to monitor to see if, are we turning away opportunities to rent by increasing that.
Right.
And I have no idea what we're talking here in terms of dollars. If it's $50, then that's a no-brainer. But if it's $1,500,
Yeah.
that's a.
Go ahead.
Through Mr. Mayor, and Denise, feel free to jump in here if I misspeak, but I'm wondering if it's worthwhile for staff to provide maybe just a high-level overview of what that program through IPE looks like. I know they've got a lot of good information, and perhaps we could have just a cover report for the next meeting, kind of summarizing what that option looks like, and just give an idea of some of the rough expenses that our facility users would.
Provide the schedule as well.
Yeah, we'll have that ready for the next meeting before you look at approving that as is.
Thank you.
So by saying that, do you want us to just receive this as information till the next meeting, till that comes? Or Or are we going ahead?
There's a November meeting prior to the December meeting where the fees and charges is proposed to come.
Oh, okay, to come back again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
let's bring the informational report for council's information, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Anything else? Go ahead.
Do we do some comparison with other
Yeah.
halls and that sort of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
through you, Mr. Mayor, so as far as I understand, it's sort of a standard package that we receive from the insurer, so I think that the specific details of what the rates would be probably has more to do with who our current insurer is, like rather than our own sort of local conditions. I think it's a standard criteria that they're applying across all of their clients, but, yeah, we'll provide some background information on that.
Just hearsay, I understand at a fairly popular hall in Woodstock has actually doubled their rates. So I just wondered what other halls are charging in
Yeah.
other areas.
Okay, anything else from council? Okay, I've already got
All those in favor?
Yes. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, thank you, Denise. Okay, and last report. Okay, our last report is Director of Corporate Services, Sarah.
Good afternoon, members of council. You have before you report number DC 2515 regarding the internet and telephone voting provider for the 2026 municipal election. Blandford-Blenheim has begun preparing for the elections scheduled for October 26, 2026 by adopting internet and telephone voting as an alternative voting method. Following a joint request for proposal process led by the Township of East Tavistock, IntelliVote Systems Incorporated was selected as the preferred vendor for the voting platform. DataFix integrates with IntelliVote Systems for the voters list management. So during the RFP process, 6 bid submissions were received and verified for compliance. The evaluation team, consisting of the clerks from the participating municipalities, completed a scoring matrix that was incorporated into the RFP process, resulting in the recommendation you have before you. I will note that area municipal staff have worked with IntelliVote Incorporated, IntelliVote Systems Incorporated in past elections and have been very happy with their service. For this system of elections, eligible electors will receive their voter instruction letters containing unique PIN, voting instructions, and access details for the voting website and a toll-free telephone number if they wish to use telephone. This system allows voters to cast their ballots conveniently via phone or internet during the voting period, removing barriers such as mobility, distance, and work scheduling issues. The cost for IntelliVote Systems Incorporated is $16,788, and DataFix Municipal Voter View platform is quoted at $8,350, both excluding HST. The total estimated election cost is going to be about $25,138, funded by the Election Reserve Fund, which currently sits at $15,693. So this evening, staff are seeking council approval to authorize the clerk to enter into agreements with IntelliVote Systems Incorporated and DataFix for the 2026 municipal election.
Okay, any questions from council at all? No, not seeing any? Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report DC 2515 be received as information, and further, that council authorizes the clerk to enter into an agreement with both IntelliVote Systems Incorporated and DataFix for the provision of internet and telephone voting in the 2026 municipal election.
Okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, second by Councillor Barnes. Any comments? I'm really curious to see what the numbers are come out next year, whether it's higher or not. And very curious to see if the demographic has changed from a senior group to, say, possibly a younger group. So I'm really curious. I'm a bit of an old school person, so I'm very curious to see how it's going to go. All in favor? Opposed, if any? And that's carried. Okay, any reports from council members? The only thing, just a reminder, we've all talked about already, but Remembrance Day coming up. Chesterfield's on Sunday, and the others are all around on the 11th, so we'll be all hopefully well attended. Sounds like it might be a little cold for a couple of days, but I always look at it, when I look at it, we can stand out there for an hour in the cold or rain compared to what they all had to endure during those times. So, all right, anything else Okay, unfinished business, nothing. Motions and notice of motions, new business, and we'll go into close. We have a very lengthy close session. Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that council move into closed session under the authority of Section 239 of the Municipal Act at 5 p.m. to discuss A, CAO 2529, the security of the property of the municipality or local board, Section 239-2A, regarding security of property of the municipality. B, CAO 2530, a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which, if disclosed, could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with contractual or other negotiations of a person, group of persons, or organization. Section 239-2I, regarding human resources policy manuals / employee relations updates. C, CAO 2531, the security of the property of the municipality or local board, Section 239-2A, regarding proposed disposition of municipal capital facility. D, CAO 2532, the security of the property of the municipality or local board, Section 239-2A, regarding land transfer matters. And E, CAO 2533, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, Section 239-2F, regarding legal update on order prohibiting occupancy.
That it? Anybody want that repeated at all? No? Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Young, seconded by Councillor Demarest. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Does council want a couple-minute break, or is everybody okay to go? Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that council does now adjourn from closed session and resume into open session at 6:17 PM and reports the following. That council provided direction to the CAO regarding reports CAO 2529, CAO 2530, CAO 2531, CAO 2532, and CAO 2533.
Okay, can I get a mover and second, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Young. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, and bylaws.
Be it hereby resolved that the following bylaws be now read a first and second time. A, bylaw 2518-2025 being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw 1360-2002 as amended. And B, bylaw 2519-2025 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Barnes, second by Councillor Young. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay,
Be it hereby resolved that the following bylaws be now read a third and final time. A, bylaw 2518-2025 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 1360-2002 as amended. And B, bylaw 2519-2025 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Young. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Anything under other? And adjournment to our next meeting.
Whereas business before council has been completed at 6:18 PM, be it hereby resolved that council adjourn to meet again on Wednesday, November 19th at 4 PM.
Okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Councillor Young, seconded by Councillor Demarest. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay.